This is a recorded session, and we are delighted to host our speaker, ARCHANA THAKRAN, who is an OER expert, and with OER it's brave for open education resources. And she is from Prologia LLC, which is an Indian-based company in New Delhi. We have a global audience with us participating, and I ask that you kindly make note of any questions that you have, and you may use the questions tab or the chat tab, which is on the right hand side of your screen. You have a small control panel that should be on your right hand side of whatever device you're using, and kindly use that to record any questions or comments that you have during the session. I will be facilitating and watching out for any particular questions that you have. And towards the end, we're going to have a discussion time when we can go through the questions, and ARCHANA will be more than happy to respond to that. In the meantime, I wanted to let you know that all the audience has been muted, so you will not be able to be heard. So kindly use those two functions, either the question tab, or if you want your comment directly come directly to the presenter or to the facilitator, kindly select the appropriate choice from that button. So with that, I welcome you again. I will take you real briefly through the welcome slides and tell you a little bit about the events that we have ahead of us, about the webinar itself and who we are. And then I will hand it over to ARCHANA to talk about the topic open education resources for teaching and learning. So as you know, the virtual conference has been a new and added component to the eLearning Innovations Conference, which is coming up in September 28th through the 2nd, which is part of organized by Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development, that's KICD, and Talent. So as the organizers, we wish to welcome you to the larger event, and thank you so much for taking time today to join us for the virtual series. That's myself, the facilitator. I realize I'm the voice behind the screen, so I thought I would offer my little picture for those who we haven't met yet. I am the CEO of eLearning Innovators, and we are pleased to sponsor the virtual conference for this session and for the ongoing sessions from August through September 24th. And as the conference conveners and this virtual conference sponsor, our role is very focused on promoting e-learning and professional development of practitioners and educators who wish to engage with e-learning and mobile education. So we provide services related to coaching, virtual mentoring, and obviously e-webinars or conferencing and virtual content strategy. I will not go into details beyond that. I welcome you to our website to learn more about our work. So next, I want to introduce you to our partner, which is the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. They are formerly known as the Kenya Institute of Education, whose core work is focused around research and curriculum development. And if you'd like to learn more about their work, I welcome you to their website as well. And also I wanted to mention about the work of Talents, which is an international network of e-learning experts, and they're dedicated to advancing e-learning in Africa, and so hence our collaboration in today's session. So back to the webinar objectives. So hopefully by participating in this session, you obviously have some expectations, and I wanted to mention exactly what we'll be covering in today's 30-minute webinar. We'll have a presentation lasting about 30 minutes, and then we'll open it up for questions, shorter actually. So you'll be able to discover the practical use of OERs, open education resources for teaching and learning, and then explore very briefly the Creative Commons licenses, identify how you may be able to use OER to enhance your practice, and choose to use OERs effectively in your own work. Next, I am more than delighted to welcome ARCHANA THAKRAN, who is our OER expert. She's from Prologia LLC. I will briefly read her bio so that you can appreciate the kind of expertise she brings to us today. ARCHANA has been actively engaged in giving seminars and training to faculty and trainers on the use of AERs for teaching and learning. She has trained over 1,500 educators from different institutions in the use of OER. She has been a lead trainer with Prologia, conducting hands-on workshops on OERs with government organizations like DU, NISBAD, and under the Indian Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. ARCHANA holds a Master of Technology in Biotechnology and has worked as a research analyst. She is very passionate about bringing transformation in the education sector through the use of OER. ARCHANA is joining us today from New Delhi in India. And so as you can see, we have a global audience, and we're seeking really through this series to tap into the expertise that is far and wide, and using the tools afforded to us through eLearning. We're very, very pleased to welcome you, ARCHANA. So I'm going to hand over the presentation to her in just a minute, and she will then teach us a little bit about what she knows related to OER. So with that said, ARCHANA, welcome.
And thank you, Peninda. Okay. First of all, let me ask you, is my screen visible to everyone?
It is now, ARCHANA, so if you could bring up the slides, please.
Okay. So, yeah, is my screen visible to all? I've shared my screen with all. Is it?
It's visible, ARCHANA. I can confirm that.
Okay. Okay, great. So, first of all, good evening to all participants, and first of all, let me welcome you all to the webinar on the use of open education resources for teaching and learning. I would like to thank the organizers, eLearning Innovations, and Dr. Penina for having me here as a panelist for today's webinar. So, I am here this evening to talk to you regarding the practical ways of using open education resources by faculty and educational institutes. The main idea behind open education resources is to use and build on the work which has already been done. So there is no need to reinvent the wheel. So the idea behind open education resources is to share knowledge. So this is a movement which is a part of a global effort to make knowledge available to all. So it is changing the landscape of education worldwide, and it provides an opportunity to drastically improve both the access and quality of education. So my objective today here is to sensitize you about the use of open education resources and how it can help you as a teacher or as an institute to integrate it into your teaching. I will be talking little about open education resources, its licenses, the barriers in its adoption, and what we at Prologia we are doing in the field of OER in developing countries like India. So let us see what open education resources are. So by definition of Commonwealth of Learning, open education resources are the material offered freely and openly to use, reuse, adapt for teaching, learning, development, and research. So you just saw two terms here, open and free. So let us discuss these two terms very quickly. Free means it doesn't have any cost associated with it when you are reusing it. Of course, for development, for creating any resource as open education resources, it does require some cost associated. But if you are reusing it, you need not to pay a single dime for reusing it. Open means if I found some resource which is available on internet, which is as OER, I am free to make changes to it, I can customize it, I can redistribute it, as per the license associated with it. So we will be talking about the licenses after this slide, and you will be surprised to know that there are more than 1 billion work today available under OER. So OER can range from a textbook, it could be an image, it could be a video, it could be a full curriculum, assignment, etc. So if you don't know what OER is, how do you gonna recognize it? So first of all, let me ask one question to you before I go to that part. How many of you are familiar with open education resources?
So with this, I'm going to launch the poll, which you should be able to see on your screen now. So kindly go ahead and vote using your mouse and select the answer and submit it. So I'll allow a few more seconds for those who have not yet voted, and then ARCHANA will be able to round up on the poll question. All right, I think I'll close this now for hopefully everybody has had a chance to respond.
Let's see.
I'll also be able to share the results with you. So ARCHANA, are you able to see the polls now?
No,
I just need the results.
no, I can't see the results there.
Okay. 1 second. Let me make a copy of it. All right, so I'm sharing the poll results now.
Okay, so 8%. Okay, where is the screen? I can't see that.
Okay, excellent. So as you can see, most of them, the participants today, are not quite sure what OERs are, and 67% absolutely know what OERs are about, and which is fantastic. We have quite an informed group with us. So I'll hand it over to you, ARCHANA, to continue with that insight in mind. So back to you.
Okay. Okay. So 67% they know what open education resources are. Wow, that's wonderful. Okay. So now, how do I recognize OER? Basically, OER are recognized by the licenses associated with them. And Creative Commons is an organization, is a non-profit organization that has created an open licensing scheme that allows you to use OER without any legal issues. So there are 6 Creative Commons licenses, and out of these 6, the author can decide under which he or she wants to release their work for others to use. From these 6 licenses, 3 licenses give you the freedom to use them commercially, and 3 allows you to use non-commercial. Okay? So let me quickly take you to the Creative Commons website where we'll see these licenses. So this is Creative Commons website, and let us quickly have a look on the 6 different licenses. Okay, so the first license is CC BY. BY means attribution. In all the 6 Creative Commons licenses, you have to attribute the original author. Okay, and the first license, which is CC BY, it is the most relaxed or the most open license out of all the 6 licenses. Under this license, you can remix it, you can tweak, and you can build upon your work and can even commercialize it. But you have to give credit to the original author. Under this license, you can even change the license of the work which you have created using this license. Okay, suppose if we have used this license and you have created a new work, the derivative work, you can make it to CC BY SA or any other remaining 5 licenses. So this license is that much open. Next is CC BY SA, that is attribution share alike. So under this license, you are again allowed to remix, you can tweak, you can build upon your work and even commercialize it, but you cannot change the license of this particular of your work which you have created using this license. That means if I am the author and I have released my work under CC BY SA and you are using it and you are customizing it and you are adding your own content and you are creating a new work, you cannot, I mean, you are you are supposed to release your work under the same license, that is CC BY SA. You cannot change this license. The third is CC BY ND, but yes, of course, you can under CC BY SA you can of course commercialize it. The third is CC BY ND, where you can redistribute it, you can commercialize it, but you cannot change that work. You have to use the work as it is. You cannot make any derivative of my work. You can supplement it with your own work, but you cannot make derivative out of it. Now, these were the 3 commercial license, and the rest 3, which now I will be talking about, are the non-commercial. CC BY NC, that under this license you can remix it, you can build upon it, but you cannot make money out of it. When I say the non-commercial, well, it is a subjective term. What kind of non-commercial aspect the author is trying to say, it should be cleared by the author itself. Whether it is about the work, about the direct involvement of money, or it is something else. It's better to get a clarification of the non-commercial term from the author. But generally speaking, when it comes CC BY NC, you cannot make direct money out of it. Now the next license is CC BY NC SA, that is attribution non-commercial share alike. Under this license, you can remix it, you can tweak it, build upon it, but you cannot commercialize it. Here means as a teacher, you can use it in the classroom, you can adapt it as per your student's requirement, but you cannot charge your student for the content which you have used for it. So MIT has opted for this license, CC BY NC SA. And the last one is CC BY NC ND, that is attribution non-commercial non-derivative. This is the most restrictive license out of all the 6 licenses. What you can do is you can only download the work and you cannot make any derivative, you cannot commercialize it, but you have to give attribution to the author. Okay, so these were the licenses which under which as an author you can release your work. Now let's see what are the benefits of using open education resources. First is better learning outcomes. When your students, they see they are learning from the best content, top-notch content of the world. And see, if you look at it, all the elite university like MIT, Stanford, Yale, all these universities, they have released their work under OER. And as a teacher, you are selecting those resources for your students. That means you are empowering yourself as well as your students. They get so motivated that they are learning from the best of the material without paying the original fees of those institutes. Everybody cannot go to MIT, but through OER, MIT is coming to them, right? So the learning outcome becomes better because the best of the content is coming to them. Then students' learning opportunity becomes better because the quality of the content is so good. They feel motivated. Of course, yes, we are learning from the best. And second thing, all the students in a classroom, they may not be able to ask questions if they have to the teachers in the classroom. So if they are using content from OER, if that is being used in the teaching pedagogy, they can always go back, they can that video, they can refer to the material which you have used for teaching and learning, and can clear their doubts and can improve their learning ability. Along with it, there is faculty development is taking place, and a recognition is also happening. How faculty development? See, in developing countries, there is a vast difference in geographical distribution of education institutes. Few are in very good cities, tier 1 city, and others are in tier 2, tier 3 cities. So in tier 1 city, we can expect that there would be very good teachers, right? But what about those institutes and those learners who are in tier 2 and tier 3 cities? I have seen examples in India where a final year student is teaching a first year student. He's becoming a teacher and he's teaching first year students. So you can imagine the level of the teacher also, and the level of the students from which they will be learning. In that scenario, if that final year student, at least he is in a position to understand what the best professors from MIT and Stanford they are teaching, right? Which has been released under OER. So he can refer that material and can make that learning material easy for the first year students. So what is happening in that case? Firstly, as a faculty, that final year student who would be teaching those first year, he would be learning how a professor at MIT is teaching the class. So he can learn from that, and he can improve his teaching abilities, right? Then the first year students who were not able to get the best quality teachers, now they are getting the content from the best university, along with the services of their own teacher who has made that subject easier for them. So that's how the learning has also become better. Now, how it is being recognized? Now, when the final year student is using some content from that elite university, he can localize it, and he can again release it under OER, and so that the local colleges or the local institute can use it further. So he is being recognized that he has contributed something under OER, and others are learning from it. So that's how faculty development and recognition is taking place. Third, and the last is, that particular institute who has adopted, who has decided to use OER for teaching and learning, certainly he will have a competitive edge over others. Today there is so much of competition in the market. So how you're gonna make yourself as unique? So through adoption of OER, this gives you an excellent opportunity to do so. Okay, so next is, let me ask you, are you currently using open education resources in your organization or in your teaching practice?
Archana, I just launched the poll. Are you able to see that? People are voting. I see that. So I'll be able to share the response in a minute.
Okay.
All right. 2 more seconds for those who haven't voted yet, and then I'll close this. All right. So I'll be sharing the results in just one slide. See votes coming in. Let's see one more. All right. So I'm going to share the results with you, Archana, and you can debrief. Very interesting.
I can't see any result, Karina.
Not yet? Okay. Are you able to see the results now?
No.
Okay, so I'm gonna put that on. All right. That's the results of the poll.
Okay.
Able to see that now?
Yeah, I can see that. 64% say they are not using open education resources, and 36% say okay, they are using somehow open education resources. Quite interesting. Okay, so let's continue from here.
Very interesting distribution. All right. Back to you, Archana.
Okay, so are you able to see my screen?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay, there it is. Now,
I think there's a little delay, obviously.
yeah, I think so. There is some delay in getting the control of it.
You are the presenter right now, so you should be able to get it over.
So is my screen visible to all of you? Tanina, can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Okay, then how do I do it?
I'm going to try another, make myself the presenter, and then I'll run the slides for you, Archana. Then that way we continue. All right.
Okay.
So I'll run your slides for you. Okay.
All right. Okay, all right. So you can run the slides for me.
Go ahead, Archana.
Pardon?
Are you able to see my screen, the slides now? It's all on.
No, I can only see the poll results.
Sorry, everyone. Give me one quick second, and I'll hide this, and you should be able to see the screen back again. All right. Archana, I have the slides ready for you now. Please continue.
Okay, so now let us see why OER is so important for developing countries, and I will take the example of India because we have been working very extensively in Indian education system. Next slide, please. Penina, next slide, please. Okay. Okay. So, what are the challenges? If you see, irrespective of India, I feel that these challenges are there for every developing countries. There is a huge demand of course, colleges and technology. Then there is a huge demand of skilled teachers, quality teachers. Huge capacity building need to be there, and there is there is a high rising high cost involved in higher education. Infrastructure is uneven, and the student enrollment also varies. There is a huge demographic what you call deficit variation in student enrollment. So if you categorize all these challenges, we can say there is a challenge in the demand, there is a challenge in getting the capacity gap filled, and there is a challenge in excess and inequality. So next slide, please. So OER, considering all these all these challenges, fits very well. How it fits in for a student? If institutes they are using open education resources, students they get an opportunity to learn from the best teachers in the world, right? So they are highly motivated that they are learning from the elite institutes, and they are ready for the global competition. So they have better career options, and certainly if say their motivation level is so high, there are dropout rate is very less. And through using open education resources, you can first of all lower the cost of education. Then you can build various pedagogical approach in in various institutes. Like it could be a blended learning. It could be what do you call flipped classroom model, and a student will have access to the content 24/7, and within no time, the student will get the updated learning material. Their peer-to-peer discussions can take place. So these are the few benefits a student gets when the institute adopts open education resources. And what are the advantages for a teacher? For a teacher, of course, the empowerment and the self-development is taking place. The teachers can network with each other. They can participate. They can exchange ideas. How they are, contributing in making education a better learning environment for their students. They can get more time in solving the problems, and they can devote more time for their students to how they can make use of the theoretical knowledge which they are imparting to them. Because for a teacher, the time is limited, and then in the limited time period, they have to complete the syllabus also, and they have to make them industry ready also. So with the use of OER, the extra burden on a teacher to complete the theoretical part somehow gets decreased, and in the same time, she can focus on the practical aspect of imparting the skills to the students, which will make them industry ready. Right? The next is what an education institute they get. Of course, they get the competitive edge nationally and internationally. When someone knows that institute in India, like IITs, they are contributing in open education resources by releasing their material under CC BY/SA. So everyone knows that, and in India, many education institutes, they are using their content, right? In the same way, if suppose in your country, any institute start adopting or using open education resources, they will get a branding for themselves that yes, they are using it and they are creating it. Adoption doesn't mean that you are only using someone else's material. Adoption also means that you are contributing back to the OER movement. Now, when everyone knows that this institute is helping you, or the kind of education they are imparting is actually making you job ready, so there would be more increased number of students enrollment. So you are getting more revenue, right? And through this, you can start using various models like flipped classroom model, MOOCs, and Spoke, and so on and so forth. Now, once you are ready, once the institute decides or the teacher decides that he or she wants to use open education resources, there are certainly various challenges and issues associated with it. So what are these? The first is lack of awareness in the minds. Lack of awareness, as you have seen in the first poll, we saw how many of you are aware of it. I mean, in today's poll, I was very happy to see there were 67% who were already aware, or they have already heard about OER. But if you go about a global, if you go on a larger scale, you will see that most of the teachers in the institute, they are not aware what open education resources are and how they can make best use of it, how they can motivate teachers to use it. The first question comes to everyone's mind is, what will I get if I share my content for free? So all these questions, they are the roadblock in adoption of OER. But let me give you a few answers to it. What will I get if I share my content for free? Of course, I am getting a recognition. As a teacher, I think that's the best thing I want for my work, that I am recognized worldwide. I know that my work is being used by someone in Africa, someone in Kenya, someone in India, someone in Australia. So I think this will give me a lot of happiness because my knowledge is being shared worldwide. All right, I think this particular reason is large enough for me as a teacher to share my content. See, content itself, if you look about, doesn't have much of the value unless a teacher is involved in it. If content was of that much great value, I think I would have become engineer by sitting in the library, right? But I need someone to answer my queries, someone to answer to solve the problem where I am stuck, to make that concept easy for me. So you need a teacher or a facilitator to make that topic easier for you, right? So through OER, this is helping you. This is a helping tool for a teacher. Okay, so you should be motivated enough to how to use it. Next is the quality control. Many of you say, if it is free, it may not be of good quality. But the same question applies for, what is a guarantee that if you are using someone's copyright material, it would be of good quality? You cannot, right? The best answer to the quality is particular resource is solving the intention or the concept for your students. It's making easier for your students to understand that is of good quality. You will find there are many topics on Wikipedia which are of excellent quality, right? Wikipedia is a most widely used open education resources. Then next comes the localization. Well, open education resources, mostly they are being released in English and various other languages. So I teach the accent or the speed or the diction could be a challenge for the universities in developing countries to use them. So how to localize them? And when MIT releases its content for free, it's not necessarily that it will be the full syllabus or the full video is of value to your students. But you can customize it as per your students' need. Now the customization becomes a challenge for a teacher because for that you need little awareness on use of open tools, how to customize it or how to edit that particular video. If it is 1 hour long and you want to use only 10 parts of it, how you can do that. Next are the standards and compatibility. Well, various open education resources, these are released under various formats, and it is recommended essentially all these formats should be open so that you are not forcing anyone to buy the copyright softwares. Next is the potential misuse of social media. Well, when you say that peer-to-peer discussion is happening, who gonna monitor it? That actually the discussion, fruitful discussion is happening between the peers. Next slide, please.
So we take another point.
Now there's a question for.
I'm sorry. How long?
Yeah. I was just reading out the question. So, what challenges do you think that is hindering the adoption of OER according to your experience?
So kindly vote real quick so that we can move on forward and share the results briefly. So this particular question, one could be able to select multiple answers, and so you will see the diversity in terms of the kind of challenges that different people foresee. So it's not just one response, it's multiple responses.
Right.
Very interesting. Just in the interest of time, as we're running a little late, I'm going to close this now and share the response and share it with you in a minute.
Okay, well, 90% they say lack of awareness and the mindset is a challenge. 40% say okay, localization is an issue. 60% find quality as one of the challenge. Resource commitment says 70%, and potential misuse is 20%. Oh, wonderful. Well, I think many surveys, they do say, agree that lack of awareness and mindset is the first challenge in adoption of OER. Okay, let's move ahead.
Go to the next slide. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay, so as an institute, what you should do to adopt OER? First of all, you should be bold enough, and you should be motivated enough to adopt OER and show the leadership. You should not wait that let someone else adopt it, then I will follow those footsteps. No, come forward and say, okay, now I am the institute in my country, and I will take the lead and take this movement forward. Right? For that, you need to educate yourself, plus your teachers as well. Engage, network with each other. In the world, you will find so many OER experts and so many universities. They are joining hand together and they are forming a consortium. Let me share one example. Open Education Consortium is there, where 280 organizations, they have joined together and they have released more than 30,000 modules in 29 different languages. And it is only one consortium I have just talked about. There are plenty of other consortiums available worldwide. Okay, so it gives you a great opportunity to network with each other, partner with each other, so that others, they are aware what kind of work you are doing, what kind of quality material you are releasing under OER. Now then you explore your options, create a plan, strategy. There should be a policy for OER adoption as an institute, so that your teacher gets a proper guidelines that how they can, as a teacher, contribute or they can use open education resources for their students, right? For that, you should allocate resources, because they do need technical resources, financial resources, and of course, the promotional resources. Now, how do you promote? For that, you need to promote open education resources amongst your, not only to the students, but to the faculty, right? And do not let the technology be a hindrance in OER adoption. Start with a small part, learn from that, and then go to a larger scale. Give your incentivize those teachers who are coming forward on the use of our open education resources, so that they are motivated enough that okay, my efforts are worth putting in, and I am getting proper recognition for it. Next slide, please. Penina, next slide.
It's on the next one.
Okay. Now, okay. So let me tell you what we are doing in India. Guruji is doing. We are actually doing the three parts. One is doing awareness program. Awareness, then we deal into content creation. We create courses using open education resources, and then we have our technology, which lets
I've handed the Microsoft.
you integrate.
You're able to show your.
Yeah, I got it. Okay, yeah, got it. So we have the technology which lets you integrate open education resources for your teaching and learning. So let's see one by one. So what do we do in this workshop? In this workshop, we train the trainers, policymakers, educators, subject matter experts on how they can use world-class material for creation of the courses or making some changes in their current pedagogy. In those in that hands-on workshop, they know about theory about what OERs are about, what is the history behind it, or what are the format, how they do recognize it. After recognizing it, how do I find it? Because if you go on a normal Google search, there are less number of chances that you will find open education resources, right? So there are specific search through which you can find content from OER. Then after finding it, how do I use it in the classroom, right? And once I have used it, you need some technology to run those courses, right? So everything is covered in that full day workshop. And mind you, it's a full day workshop, very intensive, and all the participants, they prepare one sample lecture using various multimedia approach. They will be creating their own videos. They will be, remixing it with the existing OERs, and then, preparing a sample lecture how they're going to teach it in the class. So it's a very interesting workshop which we do.
ARCHANA,
Next is content creation.
To try to wrap up in the next 5 minutes so that we can allow time for questions.
Yeah, certainly. I'm just almost done. So next part is that we have created almost 25 courses using content from OER, and the best example now which I am going to show you is NISBIRD, which is a government entity, and there you will see. Okay, now this is NISBIRD, and this is their e-learning modules. So you will find there are various courses which have been created using open education resources. Like this is web designing. You will find, okay, now this has been created using OER, and you are charging students 2,000 rupees. Now these 2,000 rupees, otherwise if you go to the normal training institute, you will find it a very expensive course. So here you are paying, a student is paying only 2,000 bucks, right? So through this, not only you have lowered the course, but you have made this movement as self-sustainable model. It's not totally free, because all the 3 licenses which all the commercial license which I talked about, it gives you this freedom to, make some commercial part attached to it. So the cyber security is there, and communication skill is there, Java is there. So these are the various courses which we have created. Next is now this is the technology, how they can use it. This is a snapshot. See, this is a course like introduction to mathematics, and this is a full course, and you will see these are the various modules of this particular course. Once you click on start the session, this screen appears, this window appears, and you will see a video lecture here. You can put handout here, you can put assignment here, you can put the quiz also. So at one place, you will find all the information related to this particular session, introduction to differential equation here. So as a teacher and a student, it makes it very easy to go through the course. So now the next question is, would you consider integrating OER in your practice?
I would like to skip this question and ask people to consider it as they leave the session, so that we allow a few questions to come in.
Okay, yeah.
But it's a really good question for all of us to consider. So ARCHANA, I have a couple of questions, and I have a question from Tom, who asks, I'm interested to know how common OERs is in Kenya or around the world. So could you speak to how commonly used open education resources are?
Pardon? How?
How commonly used are open education resources? You're probably not familiar with the Kenyan context, but can you address it from a global viewpoint?
I'm so sorry, your voice got cracked in between. I could only listen how commonly OER are used. If I'm not wrong, this is the question, did you say?
How commonly used are open education resources?
Well, in US, all the schools they are using, if you talk about Khan Academy is the most widely used OER for K-12. For higher education, if you go about MIT OCW is there, then OE Consortium are there, then OER Commons is there. These are the most widely used various sites and portals on which students they go, and students, not only students but teachers also, they go and refer these learning material.
Okay. Thank you. And I would say also, I'm going to be able to share these resources with you, the slides and the recording, so that we had a question from, that was from Rhoda, asking if we're going to be able to share, and the answer is yes. was from Dorothy. So Rhoda asks, how are you able to engage and network with and partner with OER implementers? Could you speak briefly to that, Archana?
Okay, yeah, I did talk about it. See, there are various conferences which keep on happening every year by Creative Commons, by various open universities, and they have formed various they are various groups where you can network with each other. Open universities are coming up. If you write to them, they collaborate with you. They they guide you. Like say, if you put up a Commonwealth of Learning, they help the various institute to not only develop but develop or create courses using OERs, but also help them in creating a policy also for using open education resources.
Okay, thank you. And to add on to that, there is a conference, I know it was here in Canada a few months ago, specifically focusing
Yeah.
on OER, and that's a resource I can be able to share after this presentation. It happens annually, and I'm sure there are a few others out there. Then the
Yeah, so few conferences are coming in November also, which are coming on specifically on OER.
And Achana, if you have a list of those, if you send them out to me, I'll be happy to pass on to the participants today.
Okay, sure, I'll send it to you.
Okay. So I have a few more questions. One more from Dennis. What tools did you use to create the course you just showed?
And
What's the particular
well, what
name of
tools,
the
if you talk about for creating videos, we have CamStudio. Uh, Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Which application was?
Then your voice got cracked. Can you type your can you type this question, because cannot hear what you said.
Okay. So which tool did you use to create the course? And I'm typing it again.
Which tool did I use for creating the course? Well, we have our in-house technology called OpenLearnware, which is used for creating the course.
Okay. Thank you. And to add on to
But there are various technology. If you talk about like open source technology, Moodle is the widely used technology on which you can create the courses. Then for Blackboards, they have CoreSite. This is open. Then Open edX is there. So there are various technology available which are under open source on which you can create the courses. Sakai is there. Yeah.
Okay, and I'm happy to continue the discussion offline, Dennis, with a few more ideas. Thank you, Achana. So next question is from Joyce, and she says, great presentation. Are you working with marginalized communities? And would you be able to speak to the cost of infrastructure for your program?
Well, yes, we do work with these communities, and it depends on the number of participants and it depends basically on the number of participants, how they intend to use. So we can talk about it offline, and Panina will share my email ID, and we can discuss it further.
Okay, thank you for that. Another question is from Ramesh. How do you ensure the quality of an open education resource created by someone else? Is there
Well, I think I did mention this quality part during my presentation as well. The quality, as a teacher, when you go and refer textbook, how a teacher ensures that? A teacher has to will read so many books, right? And then she will judge. Yeah, through this book, my students will able to understand it better. So the responsibility lies on the shoulder of a teacher, who will judge the quality of let it be let it be any textbook, or let it be any open education resources. So it's basically the role of a teacher who will ensure this quality.
Excellent. And I do agree, and that's why we always say, even with the technology, the critical role that a teacher plays it can never be taken away. I think they are
absolutely
experts. So their role is still absolutely essential. I have another
Right.
question from Barbara. She says to you, thank you for the presentation. One of the questions that arise among content developers is the use of Wikipedia. How authoritative is that content?
Well, see, as I said, Wikipedia is the most widely used OER, but again, a teacher has to intervene in between that, whether that kind of the kind of topic which they are looking is actually correct or not. But yes, you should, we must also appreciate this fact that whenever we want to search any topic, most of us will certainly refer what is there on Wikipedia. Let's quickly go through it. So all the experts from the world, they come to Wikipedia and share their knowledge, what they know about it. So so if as an expert you know the topic, you can always make it better. So it's all about a collaborative efforts of making something which is already available better after every revision.
Okay, excellent. So I will wrap it up by taking a few of the comments that I'm seeing coming in. From Tom, he says to you, it is a very informative session. We hope we can engage further. Dorothy repeats that, and so does Ramesh, saying, thank you for the presentation. And again, to repeat, I will be happy to share the recording after this, and you can pass that on to your colleagues or for future reference. I am going now to wrap up real quick by thanking you, Archana, and our audience. Thank you for these questions and for your engagement throughout the session. I'm now going.
Well, thank you, Benina, for providing me this opportunity.
It's such a pleasure. I'm going to wrap up real quickly by speaking to you about the upcoming sessions, about how you can engage, and give me 1 minute to do this. So a few things coming up is that next week we have a session, a similar session on specifically shared by Dr. Fang from the University of Minnesota. The information is on the website, so if you're interested in that topic, kindly register, and we'll be seeing you next Thursday, same time. The rest of the activities and the upcoming events are mentioned here. I urge you to please visit the website for more details. And in addition to that, we are still seeking a few speakers. If you think you can engage with us as a future speaker on your particular experiences with e-learning, I welcome you to send us a note. The email is here, or you can contact me directly. For the actual conference, we're still seeking just a few more speakers and session chairs. So if that's something that would be of interest to you, do contact as well. We have the opportunity for you to host a similar webinar at your organization, which essentially means putting a screen and seats and allowing people to participate from one location. So you're welcome to do that in the future webinar sessions that we host. So you can have a group viewing session at your workplace. The next is to exhibit in case you think the organization would benefit from showing your services or the programs that you've developed, then we have opportunities for that as well. Last but not least, I want to leave you with, I've already mentioned the session for next week. The topic is TPAC, which is a framework for technology-based online education. And last but not least, here are our particular websites that you can reference. And I ask you to please continue to be in touch with us. And connect with us via social media. Again, thank you very much for taking time. We know it's taken the whole hour, but we're very grateful for your engagement. Again, thanks, Archana. Have a good evening for those
Thank you,
India, Australia.
Panina. Thank you, Panina, for this wonderful opportunity.
You're most welcome. So have a good night and a good day to everyone, and looking forward to seeing you next Thursday, same time. Goodbye for now.
Okay, bye, bye.
Bye-bye.